monotone, no escape today, but I'm near here, come break the static's hold. Losing up this time, it bites, the score is told. Say goodbye to boredom, headlines made of gold. Twist and shake perspectives in a way so bold. They serve it up with humor with a snarky twist. Little bites and moves to fill your daily list.
Hey guys, it's Mo, and we have some breaking news. Well, I'm sure it's already broken now, but we have Daniel Penny has been acquitted and I didn't realize I went live on this, but shows that this is in fact a Monday, the Mondayest Monday that has ever Mondayed, because I thought I was making a video. But looks like we have Daniel Penny acquitted in the subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. So interesting, especially given what we saw last week with the drop of the main charge down, and hoping that the jury would not remain deadlocked. So let's see, we've got a Manhattan jury has cleared Daniel Penny of criminal wrongdoing in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely on a crowded subway, a caught on video unaliving that sparked a fierce debate over the city's mental health system and crime underground. So this was, a big news. This was, when Kathy Hochul literally brought the National Guard in because there had been a rash of people getting pushed in front of trains. So this is insanity. Honestly, when they dropped the manslaughter charge, I thought for sure that they were going to get a, kind of a compromise vote. So I am absolutely shocked that Jordan Neely, I am upset that he passed away. I don't want anyone to lose their life, but I am shocked that Daniel Penny is a free person now. Because of course it does. It never fails. Today, I thought if you've ever had one of those days where you're like, this may be Monday, but we are gonna fire on all the cylinders. We are gonna be on top of things. No, that wouldn't be what is happening today. So you're getting hot mess Mo as opposed to regular mess Mo. The manslaughter charge, the top charge against Penny, was tossed Friday, and that did lead to a lot of speculation that the state was dropping the highest charge to try to get a compromise verdict on one of the two lesser charges, and it did seem that we were going to be kind of given a compromise verdict, that we were going to get something that maybe was one of the lesser, criminally negligent homicide that could have put him behind bars for up to 4 years. And no, I think that this was a just verdict. I think the fact that the state did not pursue charges against the two gentlemen that helped Daniel Penny by, restricting Jordan Neely's arms and his legs, I feel like because you gave them immunity, it wasn't going to look, very good if he got convicted for anything when you went ahead and gave them immunity. Now, like I said, I am pretty shocked that he got found not guilty. Jurors sided with Penny's defense attorneys, who argued that the Marine veteran was justified in rushing to protect his fellow subway strap hangers when he subdued the erratic homeless man. The lawyers had also questioned whether there was sufficient evidence that the chokehold caused Neely's death. In another bit of kind of revelation, the medical examiner that was tapped in this case made her judgment as to what caused the death of Jordan Neely prior to toxicology coming back. Now, Jordan Neely did have K2, which is a synthetic cannabinoid that has been known to cause much higher results than regular cannabis. Look, I am not Joe Rogan. I don't know how all of this works, but suffice it to say that there is not a lot of study done on K2. Not to mention that the current toxicology reports can only show that it was in his system, not at what concentrate it was in his system. So definitely, you can't say that it definitely wasn't this, kind of stake your entire career on it when you do not know. It is the other faction of the Transformers. And then, one of Penny's lawyers decided to end his closing statement on, who do you want on the train ride with you next time? Do you want the guy with his earbuds in, minding his own business that you know would be there for you if something happened? Or perhaps you would just hope that someone like Jordan Neely doesn't enter the train when you're all alone in a crowd of others who froze with fear. So, good morning, everyone. Afternoon. Again, I thought I was making a video. This is what happens when Mo thinks she's on top of things. So thank you guys for joining. Definitely, I do think that this is going to possibly change people. We are no longer going to be a group who waits for, the police officers that came, because the police officers took 15 minutes to get there. And what wasn't brought up in the case was that the police officers who arrived on scene refused to do mouth-to-mouth rescue breathing on Jordan Neely because he had a history of drug use, and they were not sure whether they could possibly contract HIV or AIDS from Jordan Neely by doing CPR and mouth-to-mouth breathing. So this is stuff that was also not brought up. Now, the acquittal comes after jurors heard from more than 40 witnesses, including passengers who described Neely's terrifying outburst on the train before Penny approached him from behind and took him down at the Broadway Lafayette station. One strap hanger testified that she was scared ishless, hearing Neely ranting about, quote, being willing to die or go to jail. She later thanked Penny for stepping in to restrain Neely, who also raged that someone was going to die that day. Another woman on the train told jurors she feared for her life after hearing Neely's satanic rant. And you guys, this is going to be, if you are in New York City, BLM and the Neely's family have stated that, they don't want any justice or, no peace until no justice. So basically, they are threatening civil unrest because this was not the outcome that they wanted. In fact, even and up to the acquittal, when the verdict came out, they were still screaming, no justice, no peace. So if you are in the New York area, I doubt that it's going to be widespread, but, keep your head on a swivel. It seems that, they are trying their very best to make this into something that's going to spark the summer of love, mostly peaceful protests. Another mother who was taking her 5-year-old son to a doctor's appointment testified that she was so scared of a belligerent and unhinged Neely that she barricaded her own son behind his stroller. Now, Jordan Neely's family has come out to speak. He was estranged from them. Some of his violence in the past had been directed at the family, so I don't know exactly where in the continuum of a relationship they were. But the honesty with the family is that I'm sorry they lost their son, but they didn't know where Jordan was. They had cases of violence where Jordan had attacked them. And if they could have been honest, they didn't deal with Jordan when he was having these violent outbursts. They didn't want to deal with it. And while it may be incumbent upon us as an entire society to talk about, mental health awareness and things like this, it's a bit rich to see the family members who are not in Jordan's life the entire time get really mad at society for not doing well by their son. I mean, we can have a separate mental health talk, but you can't blame all of society because your son was threatening people and someone decided, no, you're not going to threaten people. It's very, I'm sorry. I don't wish a loss of a child on anyone, but I do find it extremely hypocritical that had Jordan Neely passed away on the street as another homeless person, they wouldn't be getting media things, this, that, and the other. It does seem a little bit not maybe the right way to present this as a case. Now, no witness testified that Neely put his hands on anyone or lunged at a specific person when he was making, these threats. And all he was carrying on his person was allegedly a muffin in his pocket. But he still scared people that live in New York, that ride on the subway all the time, with his unpredictable behavior. And enforcement of these sort of nuisance people on the subways has gone down to nearly zero. We all remember the case a while back where a very talented, I want to say, celloist got beamed in the back of the head with his own metal water bottle and decided to no longer play in the subway. Yeah, JKD, but kind of like Taylor Schabusiness's dad, who blamed the system rather than maybe his part in his daughter not fulfilling her life's, goals and ambitions. The polarizing case kicked off fierce conversation about, mentally ill people whose families stated, Jordan Neely was failed by the city's broken system, a sentiment that even Eric Adams, current mayor of New York City, said, saying that Penny did what we should have done as a city by protecting others that day. So, very interesting. Prosecutors argued that Penny went too far and that his actions turned criminal when he kept Neely in a hold after nearly all of the frightened passengers had fled the train. Max Murrah, thanks for joining. It is 2:40 a.m. in Japanistan. Well, yes, go back to sleep. And yes, the good news. So hopefully this will give maybe a bit of a broader conversation. If you don't want people to become vigilantes, maybe we need a stronger police presence on the subway. Maybe we need stronger and less bail reforms. If these people with mental illnesses continue to use, the jails and the criminal system as sort of a halfway house between homelessness and being, taken care of by the American taxpayer, we need to come up with a better idea. But you can't. I'm sorry. I would rather live in a world where Daniel Penny will see women, children, people being terrorized and gets up and does something rather than, sit down and let him attack people because you don't want to have to go through a year of this. Now, I have heard that there is still a pending possible civil litigation against Daniel Penny by the estate of Jordan Neely for wrongful death. I do not know how that's going on. But there has been, much to do about Dr. Cynthia Harris, who was the medical examiner who basically stated that she could pinpoint on the viral video where Neely passed away. Now, again, this would be something that would be of note if she hadn't said that regardless of toxicology, I will not be changing my, ideas about this case because of what I saw. So this case was overcharged to begin with. This case was overcharged. Oh, thank you, Old Line Ren. The civil lawyer was outside with the family after court, and he said a few words. I was running in and out of getting, middle daughter has strep throat, so I was out getting, new toothbrushes and all that kind of stuff, and her antibiotics. And Ghost, it does really seem that, the transit police department needs to be brought back in. It seems like you've given people an idea that the subway is a lawless area, that you can get away with things. The revolving door, because of the, force through bail control and bail reform, seems that you basically have a very small percentage of the population terrorizing the larger part of the population. And no, M169, Daniel Penny should not have been charged. He wasn't charged until there were a bunch of activists that said that they were going in and they were going to start, screaming the door down, basically, until he got, arrested. So it really is a very political case. It's not, it's not a case that I celebrate. I don't wish that anyone passed away. But when you start doing these political witch hunts and put a mask over of Lady Justice, Lady Justice is beginning to look a whole lot tawdry and a whole lot, cheap if we continue to try to make this political. This man threatened an entire train, an entire subway. And if we continue to try to punish people that stand up, that do the right thing, we always want to talk about toxic masculinity and toxic all this other crap. Well, Daniel Penny did what masculinity is there for, what it has always been at its bottom, which is protecting other people. Not showing he was a tough guy. He didn't go in and roundhouse Chuck Norris kick him. No, he went and restrained him. And if you listen to Daniel Penny in his interrogation before he realizes that the cops are trying to get him for something, he said, yes, I was just trying to keep him from hurting anyone. I didn't have, pressure up on his neck. I had it down more on his collarbone, this, that, and the other. And then in perhaps, a bit of a twist, we are also treated, I don't know where opposition found this, we are also treated to the prosecuting attorney in this case, the state's attorney, the lead attorney in this case, going through and basically, in a prior case, dropping the felony murder in a burglary turned murder of an elderly Asian man at an ATM into, aggravated burglary or robbery because he hadn't intended on killing, the man that he was strong arm robbing. The problem is that the law doesn't really look at what you were intending to do there. You were committing a felony and then it resulted in murder or a death, and that's felony homicide. So you have a very embattled DA that doesn't seem to want to prosecute any sort of crime. And this is just from what we've seen with Alvin Bragg and trying to, address wrongs and do restorative justice and things like that. So if we can find wiggle room for these people who have obviously done a crime, the fact that we couldn't find wiggle room for Daniel Penny was very starkly, created and shown using the attorney's own words. Let me see if I can pull that up, because I do believe, again, I love this. I was not planning on doing a live, so I'm over here trying to pull some things up. Wow. All right, let's see if we'll just go to some live coverage and hopefully
across 5
okay.
days before finally
extremely excited man from
a unanimous decision. This one, they were unanimous, not guilty. The jury deliberating for more than 24 hours across 5 days before finally reaching this verdict. Daniel Penny found not guilty on all counts.
Now, what I have heard, because I was watching Nate the lawyer's coverage of this as it was coming out, and he managed to get several of, the incoming, it's like the bloviating barnacles on television who talk about things. Ooh, she has, well, my pause game has never been more on top of it than now. Let's see what she has to say. Oh, that's her real face. Okay, I'm a terrible person. I'm going straight to hell.
Upset. You can hear those audible yells for him, against him. But what is your take on this as we have been waiting for the outcome from this trial?
Well, Bianca, it was very clear even from the very beginning of this case at jury selection when I was down there at 100 Center Street in Manhattan.
Okay, this woman's face is gonna bother me, and I'm a terrible person. But did she have a stroke on one side? When am I not? You know, and I thought I changed that, but no, I didn't, because again, it never fails. Today is such a hot mess day. It's not funny. Love it. Yeah, okay. She is obviously going to scare me like when they put oh gosh, what's his face?
When you're facing this machine, this.
All right, so we have opposing sides. This looks, oh, but Caitlyn Jenner. When you have Caitlyn Jenner on a news program, I think you should be warned. So, as you can see, there was a group of people on one side lined up, obviously, for Jordan Neely, and the other one for, you know, Daniel Penny. And it definitely, I was shocked that we got anything today. I thought for sure we were going to get told, you know, they're still deliberating, they're still doing their thing, that kind of thing. So I was actually pretty shocked. As you can see, there's a lot of people that are going to be out there. I will say again, for people that live in more populated big city places, I would, you know, don't expect any big craziness for this, but I would, you know, keep an eye on stuff. It is absolutely crazy. They did bring out, was it Eric Gardner's wife? He was the man that I believe lost his life because he was selling loose cigarettes. So there are going to be a lot of hot takes on this case. There are going to be a lot of people. Daniel Penny is still going to be fighting this. Oh, his mother. Thank you. I would be not spelling things correctly, Zach, which is why I need you here. So there has been a lot. I mean, this is going to continue to be part of a narrative, unfortunately. This is going to, you know, if him getting off, you know, boost your particular narrative of, you know, self-defense and that type of thing, I do think that this is going to be a big thing. And Slinky, did these people give a dang about Jordan prior to his death? He obviously needed help with his mental issues, but no one seemed to care until he could be a pawn for political gain. Yeah, that's the kind of cynical grossness that I think people are getting very tired of. I will tell you for myself, as a person who watched this case and was very upset that it wasn't going to be streamed, because I thought it would be an interesting case to see the difference between what the state actually brought in as fact versus what they kind of leaked and put out on the media, I thought would have been an interesting case to cover. Unfortunately, is this case going to heal stuff? Heal the divide? Probably not, unfortunately. Do I think that this was a good outcome for as bad a case as this was, for as politically charged as this case was? I think that this was a good outcome. I think that in my eyes, had I been on the jury, it would have been self-defense or defense of others. That's my opinion. I didn't see anything in the pendency of this case that has given me any different idea. I hope that Mr. Penny can get his life back on track and go and just be an obscure person, just be a nameless, faceless person if he would like to be after this. I don't know the likelihood of that happening, but I do really hope that, things are not going to, it's not going to devolve. I think that this case was fairly clear. I think you had all of the witnesses agreed that they were in danger, that they were afraid. So I do hope that he gets to continue to do his life. I hope that the case against him civilly also falls apart. If the family for Jordan Neely wants to do something now, they could, try to please get mental health and places for people with mental health issues to go where they can be safe and taken care of. Make that a priority. If you want your son's life to mean something going forward, then use it as, people like him, people that have profound struggles with their mental health, need to be in a place that is, safe for them, where they can be productive to their ability. And Rage Crochet says Melanie Little said the leader of the first responders said they didn't do anything when they got there because they didn't want to get any diseases from a drug addict. So, yeah, it's definitely. Oh, okay, Brooklyn Pisola. I am not a big Brooklyn. I have never been to New York. I mean, maybe upstate if you're traveling to get to New Hampshire. I've been through New York. But I thought that they did have face masks to where you wouldn't pass any sort of biological material, but you could still give CPR. So I was not aware of that. I thought Fundian. Well, see, Fundian, you are prepared and on track for all of us. That's just how it is. But that being said, I am probably going to head up off of here because I have, I do have to rotate laundry. I thought I was doing a video, but thank you guys so much for this impromptu live. I hope that, this is a sign of things to come, that juries are actually going to be listening and, paying attention and making the state prove things beyond a reasonable doubt. And just for you guys, I will give you the final page count because I just finished the notes for the final part of the documentary for the JonBenét Ramsey case, or the documentary, and it is 18 pages. I got 6,442 words. Now, a couple of them were what the actual crap. I will be planning to go over that with you guys tomorrow at 10. So I will be doing the final episode in the Who Killed JonBenét Ramsey case, the documentary, giving my thoughts on that. Spoiler alerts, we don't learn anything new. Well, we learn a couple new things, but not enough to say we done solved it. But it, I think, was an eye-opening documentary, especially for a case that started when I was so young and maybe didn't quite get the whole media landscape of how insidious and intertwined these police departments can become with local and national media to really get their kind of side out. And, that was really eye-opening to think that the more, all the things that I gripe about the media now, they were doing in the JonBenét Ramsey case. So it is very interesting. I will say that there were a couple of moments where I thought, that's interesting. And for those of you who want the final it is a very pro-Ramsey's documentary at the end of it. It definitely, having John involved, I think was going to be a bit more of a pro-Ramsey's sort of documentary. But I think it does bring up some interesting questions about the ethics of police, being so closely entwined with the media. And for those of us who consume true crime, what is our obligation as true crime, consumers? Should we require that people tell us, things that are grounded in fact, or are we seduced by, like everyone else, with interesting scenarios, and this might have happened, and are we so hungry for the very next, this'll solve it, this'll do it, that we rush and kind of muck up an entire case because we want these sensational answers. So definitely some things to chew about. And it is odd going back to a case that was, when I was a baby true crimer and didn't quite get all of the ins and outs. I will say, coming to the end of the entire docuseries, I could be persuaded with any of the scenarios. I really could. I could, be persuaded that the parents did it. If you give me, evidence beyond, the wonky, ransom card. I could be persuaded that perhaps Burke did it, or someone in the family. I could be persuaded that an intruder did it. I could be persuaded by a great many things if they were based in fact. What I do not want to hear one more again is, we found these random creepy people all around and this is how it could possibly be one of them. I do think that there is, something that needs to be looked at deeply within the investigation and go back to the brass tacks. Do I think that it's possible to do that after all this time? No. And here's the same reason why I think this case is going to be just like the Delphi case. You are going to have very passionate people that have looked at a lot of the evidence, and the evidence doesn't say what the state says it says. And they did such a terrible, piss poor job on paper that it is really going to be very difficult going forward to ever get a definitive read on the JonBenét Ramsey case and the Delphi case. Those are my thoughts, but I am going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning in live. Sorry about the kind of impromptu live, but I definitely want to bring you guys up to date news with these other cases. I should be doing a video a little bit longer, about 10-15 minutes, on the Diddy case with Jay-Z, and then also with Miss Lori Vallow deciding to go pro se in the case, where she unalived Charles Vallow, the one husband who sold her crazy ass for, herself. He's the one that she's like, he's weird, isn't he? You want to talk about the coldest thing I have ever seen? It's Lori Vallow basically talking poo about Charles Vallow when he's trying to get someone to listen to him. And thank you so much for the gift of a membership. No, I don't. I love it. I can't. And that went to Pamela Goodson. So congratulations. Thank you guys so much for joining. I am going to finish doing some laundry, probably work on some dinner, probably roasting some chicken breasts. I know you're very, very jealous. And then I'm going to be Lysoling the entire house so the rest of us don't get strep throat, even though I know that's not how it's passed around. I'm still Lysoling everything. Slinky, I definitely will. Let me write that on my list. I did want to get a little bit more into the Diddy case, and Tony Busby does seem like a character. I know he's representing a lot of these, lawsuit and these victims. So definitely want to look. He's famous in Houston for parking a tank in front of his house. Well, I mean, is there any other way to park when you're in Houston? I don't know. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys in a little bit for Nightly Newsy News. Have a safe day. Stay warm. Stay, dry if you're able to. It is spitting and raining and being utterly gross here in Indiana. So congratulations for catching a live that was impromptu. Hey, a live I didn't even know I was live for. And I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye, you guys.